Well, good afternoon, everyone. Are we excited for an awesome presentation today or what?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! Let's woo-hoo here at Park Office Center. We are thrilled to have this awesome client of ours with us today. I'm Lisa with Virtual Office Centers and Office Centers, and I'm welcoming the group here at Park Office Center as well as all of our other locations. A big woo-hoo for all of you. Woo-hoo! So what we're going to do, we'll get started here. How to work with your brain to get the best out of yourself in your life. Who's excited to learn about that today?
Me.
That's another hand raiser. So Jennifer Kern Collins is a Bachelor of Business Administration and Master's in Psychology. She's worked in helping professions for over 10 years. First as an addictions counselor at Mayo. Is that cool? And then as a wellness coach in various organizations. She established her own coaching business, Intrinsic Solutions, in 2009, where she does speaking, coaching, training with individuals, groups, and organizations. She's a certified neurotransformational coach and a licensed neuro-linguistics programmer. Correct? Wow, that's a mouthful. And she's also the author, in fact, I have my book here with me, the author of an awesome book that I have read and loved called The Drama-Free Way, a thought management guide to navigating chaos and thriving. And I'm implementing and hoping it works. So with that, we're going to learn all about the neuroscience of success of self-optimization with Jennifer. Thank you so much. Woohoo!
Albert Einstein said, "You can't solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it." Now, what do you think that's about? I'll tell you what I think it's about. I think that consciousness is about the quality of energy that we bring to whatever it is that we're doing. And that starts at the level of our thoughts, because our thoughts are energy. And so it's the quality of our thoughts that determine our outcomes and our success in life. So you might be wondering, what does that mean for you and your business and your life? And if you're like most people, when you're going about your life, you're probably focused on the tasks that you have to do, the things that you have to accomplish, like what's on your checklist each day. As a business owner, you might be thinking about your marketing, you might be thinking about where your next client's coming from. In your personal life, you might be thinking about what's on your grocery list, errands you have to run, organizing daycare, any of those kinds of things. But without being aware of the quality of energy or the level of consciousness that you're bringing into all of these areas of your life, you can end up spinning in the same kind of problems over and over and over again without really finding effective solutions. So part of the challenge of being human is being able to be in the experience of our problems and still rise above them based on how you're focusing your thoughts so that you can solve them more effectively. Okay? So the question becomes, what is your personal consciousness? How are you focusing your thoughts on a regular basis? And what are the outcomes that you're getting as a result of that? And that's what we're going to look at today. But before we dive into that, I want to take you back to the autumn, fall, October of 2014. And I had a client who I started working with at that time who we'll call Mandy. And Mandy is a woman in her 40s. She's blonde and she's sassy and she's sharp and smart and she's got sarcasm and wit that will have you laughing until next Sunday. She's also a mom, she's a wife, and she's the CEO and president of their family's construction business. Okay. Now, most of her life has been focused on getting to each step, getting her schooling done, getting her education, getting married, having a family, getting into her business. And by the time she came into the coaching, she wasn't happy. She'd kind of lost herself in that process. And so she came into the coaching because she wanted to rediscover herself, who's in here. But beyond that, she wasn't feeling very secure or very certain in her decision-making in her business. She was easily getting sucked into a lot of drama from her family of origin. She was struggling in her communication with her, at that time, preteen kids. And her marriage was suffering because her energy was displaced all over the place. Everything was very scattered. So fast forward to today. We're actually just starting to wrap up the coaching. It's been about a year and a half that we've been working together. And now her business is winning awards. The things that show up as problems for her in her business are actually easily being resolved without her having to stress about it. Last summer, she had a foreman quit right in the middle of their high season. And instead of freaking out about it, she stayed calm, she stayed centered, and literally within about a week, a new foreman came out of the woodwork, someone better than she could have ever picked or designed herself, and the solution just flowed to her effortlessly. She was also struggling with the location of their construction yard, and literally this month, they're moving to a place within a 3-minute drive of their home. And all of those things just started to flow organically to her. Her kids are coming to her with their problems. Even she has a son, 14-year-old son, who has a little girlfriend. And he's coming to his parents, to his mom, with the girlfriend's problems too. Right? So, but that communication is open. And within a very short period of time, she was able to start setting healthy boundaries with her family of origin. So that feels more balanced for her. And after about 9 months of us, 6 to 9 months of us working together, her husband said, I want to get on that too. And so he got on a call with me. And he said, I always remember these words. He said, I notice my wife is really happy. And I feel like she loves me again. And so we started working together too. Now, you might be wondering, what in the world did we do to create such a dramatic shift in a relatively short amount of time? What we did was we went in to how she was thinking about things, how she was processing things in her life, and how she was managing her personal consciousness and the quality of energy that she was bringing to all of these different areas of her life. We pulled out old belief patterns that weren't serving her and came up with some new ones, and also gave her tools so that when she dropped into a lower energetic state, a lower state of consciousness, she knew how to recover and get into a higher elevated state before taking action. And she's no different than anyone else in this room, okay? This is something that is a skill set. There are a series of habits and practices that you can use to employ, that you can employ for yourself to create a shift in your business life or your personal life, okay? And part of the reason why consciousness is sort of like a one-stop shop for making changes in your life overall is because everything in your life funnels through you. How you're thinking about everything creates your experience. So that's what we're going to look at today. So let me just give you a little roadmap for where we're going. Okay, first we're going to look at consciousness in general and just kind of like what is consciousness and how is it the basis for success. We're going to take a quick peek at some of the neuroscience. Okay, what's happening in the brain when you're operating at different levels of consciousness. And then we're going to give you a couple tools that you can use immediately in order to keep yourself in a more elevated state and to recover to a higher state when you get triggered to go into a lower energetic state. Okay, so and then finally, if this is resonating for you and you want to take a deeper dive, this is part of a much bigger system. Okay, that I usually take my clients through over a period of about 6 months. Obviously, we don't have time to do all of that today. So I just picked a few of my favorite pieces to give you as tools to start out with, so you can start on your journey of being more conscious and intentional about how you're thinking about things and the quality of energy that you're bringing into all areas of your life. So, so where we'll end up today is also if you are wanting to go take this to a deeper level, we'll be able to talk about some resources for that for you too. Okay, so let's start with looking at energy. When you think about the term energy, what comes up for you?
Electricity.
Electricity. Cool. What else?
Pulses.
Pulses.
Vitality.
Vitality. Movement.
Positive
Yeah,
energy.
Positive energy
Is
is joy. Beautiful.
That's nice.
Yeah. Did I hear another one?
Exuberant.
Exuberance. Yeah. So these are all different kinds of energy that you're naming, right? I think most people think about energy as being physical. And you think about that like with electricity and with movement and that kind of thing. And when you think about your personal physical energy, how do you know when your energy is high or when it's low? Emotions. If you're sleepy, yeah, if you're sleepy, your energy's lower, right? How about if you're hungry?
It's high.
If you're hungry, your energy's high. Energized to go get some food, right? Probably you're really motivated if you're hungry.
Or you could feel lethargic.
You can feel lethargic, yeah. So there's that physical lethargy, I think is the pronunciation of that. Yeah. So when it comes to physical energy, we're pretty clear about what's a higher quality of energy or lower quality of energy. Your lower quality of energy is if you're hungry or if you're tired. Have you ever had to do work when you're hungry or tired?
Oh.
Yeah. And how connected can you be with another person? How focused can you be?
We call that hangry.
It's hangry, right? That's when the hangries come out. Yeah. Versus when you're fed or when you're well rested and energized. Then what is your focus like? How good is your decision making? It's better. It's sharp, right? So when it comes to physical energy, we get this. We know what this is. But as multidimensional beings, your energy comes from so much more than just what's physical. And you guys have already been mentioning this in the room. You have a mental energy, which links to your creativity. You have emotional energy, right? And then we also have spiritual energy, which is about a greater sense of purpose. And without having these energies also filled up and being clear about how to navigate these energies, that's where we can get stuck in the same old problems, same old challenges over and over again. But as human beings, the problem with having problems is that usually when a challenge comes up, what do? We fixate on it. We do what?
Avoid it.
We try to avoid the problem or try to get really fixated on it. Sometimes you obsess in your mind about it. This happened to you guys, right? If you're a woman, you probably want to talk about it, right? Because we want to process these things. But that actually puts more energy into the thing that you don't want. And it actually fuels it more, as opposed to being able to find a higher state to be in to address the problem from there where you can be more resourceful. So go ahead and look. You guys have a handout called the Energetic State Spectrum. And this is just a model of the different kinds of energies that we can embody, okay? And you can see that there are low energies all the way down at hopelessness or worthlessness, okay? All the way up to reverence and harmony. And the crossover point is at willingness. So you have a higher energetic states that are available to you and lower energetic states, okay? Now we're not gonna go do a deep dive into this today just because we don't have a lot of time, but at a glance you can see that there's this whole range of energies. And the split in the middle on those lower energies has to do with how you're processing them. Okay, so you can get into a negative energetic state, a negative focus state, and if you resist it, it gets bottled up. And what happens when negative energy gets bottled up? It explodes at some point, or it starts leaking out sarcasm or other kind, or nasty grams, or whatever kind of avenues it's going to leak out from, as opposed to being able to take negative emotions and process them in a healthy way. So that's what that distinction is about there, okay? So as human beings, you will have a natural sort of set point, an energetic set point where you're spending most of your time, where you sort of calibrate on a regular basis, okay? But because you're continuously engaging with the outside world, with other people, with the circumstances in your life, in addition to having your own thought patterns, you're going to be fluctuating, bouncing around on the spectrum based on how you're thinking about things, how you're thinking about your challenges, or how you're thinking about your stressors versus how you're thinking about things that you're enjoying in your life. Okay, so let's make this practical. Why don't you guys go ahead and think about, just think to yourselves, think about something that's current for you in your life that's stressful. Something that's bugging you, something that's just creating stress for you. And notice what you think about. Notice what comes to mind when you think about that stressor. Everybody got one? Okay. And notice how that feels. And just go ahead and turn to somebody next to you. And just take a moment to talk about like what you notice about what's happening in your thoughts when you think about and focus on something that's stressful. So go ahead and just take 30 seconds for that. So you guys can do some little groups here if you need to.
Oh, here we go. So what's stress? So it's
Oh, yeah. That's one thing.
Take another 30 seconds or so. Make sure you've both had a chance to share. Okay, so come on back and tell me, what did you notice? Like in your conversations, what did you notice about the kind of thoughts you were having when you focus on something that's stressful?
They're negative.
They're negative. Is that pretty universal? Everybody would say they're negative. How do you know they're negative? What tells you that they're negative?
Body language, the words they use.
Body language, words they use.
Just the way you feel.
The way you feel. Yeah. Negative thinking and negative focus always feels bad. Would you say? Would you agree? And it's bad, some kind of version of bad, okay? And that's anything that's going to be in these lower energetic states. There are a lot of versions of bad feelings, okay? But if it feels bad, it means probably you're focusing your mind in a way that's got you in a lower energetic state, okay? Now, here's the thing is this is not, it's not, you're going to say bad a lot. It's not bad to go into the lower states. It's human. It's how you process it and how long it takes you to recover and where you take action from that counts. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch that up. And now think about something that's current for you that's exciting. Maybe a vacation that you're planning, maybe you're a big Twins fan and it's baseball season, it's whatever it is that you're looking forward to that you're excited about, or you could think about someone you really love. And just pick one thing and notice again, how does that feel? What kind of thoughts are you having? And go ahead and partner up again and just have a little conversation about that and just see what you notice.
Yes.
Make sure your partners had, both of you have had a chance to share.
Yeah, but then you're like,
Come on back. What did you guys notice? Sorry to cut off your fun. You guys want to keep chatting about this stuff.
Stay here.
Yeah, you got the positive vibes going. Yeah, so what did you notice about that? Didn't want to stop talking about it. Why?
Felt good.
Feels good. Yes, what else? Were you going to say something else, Cheryl?
Yeah, we were gonna just say that, you know what, we didn't like any of yours, we were way off the chart. Up way high in love and ecstasy.
Oh, fabulous. And so when you're up in that higher state, how resourceful are you?
oh my gosh,
Where's your creativity?
off the chart.
How innovative can you be? How well can you connect with another human being? Right? It's totally different, isn't it, when you're coming from that higher quality of energy, as opposed to when you're focusing on something that's stressful. So the question is, in your business and in your life, where would you like to be spending more of your time? It's kind of obvious, isn't it? I hope you're going to answer the higher energetic state.
I would never get anything done.
Would never get anything done. But when you can channel that higher energy, and here's another interesting thing too, guys, is that this energy corresponds to your point of attraction when it comes to working with the law of attraction. So if you're familiar at all with the law of attraction, like energies come together, you are a vibrational being, and that tone is set by the quality of your thoughts and then where your energetic set point is. That is what's going to draw into your life experience circumstances, people, resources, things that match where you're at and where you want to go. So again, being in a higher state, following what feels good, that's the key to your success unfolding more easily and effortlessly, like we saw with my client Mandy. So you might be wondering, what in the world is happening in the brain when this is going on? Because the brain functions very differently when you're in a lower energetic state versus when you're in a higher energetic state. So there's a lot to say about this, but here's the simple version for the sake of time today. When you're in the higher energetic state, your cortical brain is more engaged. Okay, so that's the part of your brain that has linear processing, that has organization, logic. It's where you have your decision-making, good decision-making capabilities, right? It's your ability to empathize and connect with another human being, okay? It's being able to grasp abstract concepts and come up with creative solutions, in addition to being able to record new memories and retrieve old ones so you can be more effective. Now, when you're in the lower energetic states, what happens is your limbic system gets triggered and becomes more active. Now, the limbic system is your survival brain. So limbic system is where you have your fight, flight, and freeze. Now, when you are in a flight, fight, or freeze state, how easily can you make a decision? Not very well. How creative can you be? How are you interacting with other people? It's not very effective, is it? So all of these things correspond with each other. And now here's the other fascinating thing about this, is that the hemispheres of the brain even operate differently, whether you're in a higher state or a lower state. Okay, so very simply put, the left hemisphere, which is where you have your logic, your organization, your sequencing, those kinds of things, that is optimized when you're in a higher energetic state. When you're in a lower energetic state, it tends to go into a more rigid zone, becomes more objectifying, and the dominant energy that comes through is anger or frustration, irritation. okay? That's left hemisphere. Right hemisphere, in a higher energetic state where it's functioning well, is creative, it's intuitive, it's empathetic and compassionate. Most of your emotions are in the right hemisphere, except for left side is positivity in the higher energetic states and anger in the lower energetic states. But because a lot of that, the other emotions are in the right hemisphere, when you go into the lower states, you get into overwhelm and things become too chaotic. So part of the reason why we have two hemispheres, why our brains evolved that way, is to be able to inhibit each other. They act as sort of a checks and balances, okay? So that when you do get triggered to go into a lower energetic state, and we all have our triggers, being able to determine, okay, is this dominantly a left hemisphere anger kind of energy, or is this more of a right hemisphere overwhelm kind of energy? Because the antidote is the opposite hemisphere in the higher energetic state. So for example, if you're angry and frustrated about something, and you can get into looking at the big picture, because the right hemisphere can take a holistic approach to things. If you're angry and you say, okay, in the big scheme of things, how big of a deal is this really? That helps you shift. Get out of the anger, come into a higher energetic state where you can, all of a sudden, be more resourceful again. And on the flip side, if you're getting into like really a place of overwhelm, where you can't think clearly, can't make a decision, can't really connect, can't put your feelings into words, you need a left hemisphere in the higher energetic state. You need a structure, you need a plan. If you're feeling overwhelmed with something, you've got too many tasks, too many things to do, and you make a list, how does it feel? All of a sudden you're organized, right? So that's how this works. So just very simply put, in terms of tools that you can use, the simple benchmark is if you're getting into anger or frustration, you want to look at the big picture, ask questions. What if this problem were already solved? What if I didn't have to worry about this and I could allow the answer to flow to me? Do you feel how those questions are lightening? They kind of just give you a little bit more spaciousness. Okay, so that's for the left hemisphere. For the right hemisphere, make a list, get a plan. That's the way to help get out of that overwhelm. So does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Cool. So then let's take a look at when you're living consistently, because we all have things that trigger us to go into the lower energetic states. Is this stay working, right? But what about when you're in the higher energetic states? That's when you're kind of at your best self, wouldn't you say? So how do you know when you're operating from your best self? What tells you that? If you're really optimized, you're really on your game.
Your energy, your attitude,
Energy,
perspective.
attitude, perspective.
Achievements.
What's that? Achievements.
I think people want to like surround themselves around you more often than you're like in a bad funk.
That is awesome. People want to surround themselves around you more than when you're in a bad funk. You're the life of the party. But we all have had that experience, haven't we? That like you know who the people in your life are who are good energy, right? And you know who the people who are downers, right? And how can you tell? Because we feel each other's energy, right? So when you're going about your life and you're going about your business, that's something to keep in mind too, is what's the quality of energy you're bringing, because people are feeling it. Even if you're not saying it, even if you're showing up with your poker face, they're feeling it. And part of that is because our brains are built with something called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons are the way that we pick up on what someone else is feeling. Excuse me. Mirror neuron, the brain can't tell the difference between observing something, between thinking about it, and between experiencing it. And that's part of that mirror neuron quality as well. Okay, so when you're engaging with other people, this developed as an evolutionary thing. So let's say Cheryl and I are sitting around the campfire a million years ago. And are humans a million years old? However long ago, we're sitting around the campfire, and a saber-toothed tiger comes up behind me. What is she gonna do?
Tell you you're in the wrong millennial.
Yeah. She's gonna probably go white and start running. If I can't tell what that is, I'm tiger meat. So there's a reason why we have this. There's a reason why we're built to pick up on other people's energy. Okay, and that's an important part of understanding your impact when you're coming from a higher energetic state or a lower energetic state. So when you're coming from your best self, people feel it. But how do you get into that best self state? How do you live from there consistently? And what do you do when other people around you are bugging you and pulling you down into a lower state? Okay, I want to give you 2 tools that you can work with today. Okay, we're actually going to do them right now so that when you leave, you've got something that you can use to start when you get triggered into a lower state, recovering to a higher state. Okay, so the first one is actually go ahead and put down your notes, put down your phones, put down your pizza, put down whatever you're working on. Okay, and go ahead and close your eyes. Okay, and think about someone that kind of bugs you. Someone that
There's so many.
there are so many. Yes, there can be so many. So you only have to pick one. Wow, you guys, this is really good. Look how good you are. You're already laughing. So think about someone who kind of bugs you, okay? And think about what they say. Think about the expression on their face. Think about maybe they're doing something that kind of bugs you. Now just pick one. And just focus on sort of a snapshot of what that is. And as you look at that, notice how it makes you feel. Okay? And now, as you see that person, go ahead and kind of shrink them down and put them in a screen on the wall, kind of like you're watching them on TV. And watch them do that same thing again. Watch them say this, hear them say whatever they say that's annoying. See them doing that annoying thing, okay? And just notice if it feels any different to you to have a little bit of distance, like you're watching a movie, okay? And now, go ahead, and while you're watching them on the screen, put a clown nose on them and see if that feels any different. And now, if you have them saying something that's annoying, have them talk in a Mickey Mouse voice. And just notice if it shifts anything for you. And now when you're ready, go ahead and come back into the room and just, who would be willing to share? Like, what, did you notice any shifting? Did anything change for you?
Well, because I am on the air a lot on the screen. So my first thought when you did that little exercise was great. Now they're talking about me all over TV with the clown face and a Mickey Mouse voice.
Well, but only if you're annoying. No, I'm just kidding. No, but so here's the point. Here's the point of this exercise. Did anyone have any other thoughts, or did you notice at least a little bit of a shift in how annoying they were? Did they become less annoying or more annoying?
They became ridiculous.
They became ridiculous. What else?
They became funny.
They became funny. And so does that give you a little bit of a shift in how you feel about that person or that circumstance? That's all you need. Because now you're swinging the pendulum from a lower energetic state to get a little bit of levity. This is not to diminish anybody. This is not to make fun of anybody. It's so that you find a way of feeling differently. I did this with a client of mine named Veronica, and she had this thing with her husband that she couldn't stand it when he would wipe the counters with the dirty sponge. She only wanted the counters wiped with the antibacterial wipes. And it made her crazy. And she asked him over and over again, and he just wouldn't do it. And literally the day we did that exercise, that night she went home, and after dinner he was cleaning up, and she looked over and he was using the wipes. And it really speaks to how when we change how we feel about things on the inside, it changes your point of attraction, it changes the energy around you, and people will literally respond to you differently. I mean, it's almost a little like magic, like weird, like how does that work? But it does. So you get to have that tool to play with. Let's do another one too. You guys have a sheet that says, relax, refresh, feel good, brainstorm list. Okay? Now this is something that I have all of my clients do. I want them to have a list of things that feel good to them, that are relaxing to them, that they can do on a regular basis, so that they practice training their energy to be in a higher state. Now, an example of somebody who is brilliant at keeping their energy in a higher state, of all people, Donald Trump. He has his energy trained to be really elevated. He's always talking, my company does the best this, and I'm the best at that, and I only have the best people and the best whatever. How many times do you hear him say that? He doesn't give you a lot of details about what that means, but he's sure it's the best. He has got his energy so trained. Look at what he's creating in this country in terms of a following. And that's not because of what he's doing, and it's not because of what he's saying, I hope. It's because he's got himself so trained.
But when I see that, I feel negative egotism.
So that's your, but that might not be how he's experiencing it. He's probably, ooh, I got the wrong sheet. So that's an evaluation that we could have from the outside, right? But he's experiencing something up here. He's experiencing something about feeling so good somehow. I don't know how that functions in his system, right? But the point is, when you can train your state so that you're living most of the time in a higher frequency.
So if we all sat here thinking higher frequency, maybe he would step out.
Well, I mean, part of the thing is we give him a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I mean, even now we're talking about him. Sorry, I brought it up, right? But he knows how to get a lot of attention, and energy flows where attention goes. So that's part of it.
So we were just I'm part of the group, and we were talking about the power of thought.
Yeah.
And then what we think we achieve. So if you think you're fat, you'll be fat.
Yeah.
You kind of attract that in your life. If you think you're healthy, you're healthy. If you think you're sexy at 200, you are, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of thing.
Totally.
And one of the things that one person set up to is that even our thoughts are prayers. And so we think, if we, and forgive me, don't record this, but if we say Donald Trump is an asshole, we're making him an asshole, right? And I thought about that, and I thought, well, there's kind of some truth to that. Because whether you voice that or you're putting it out there, you're creating a ripple in time that endorses that.
Absolutely.
Mental prayer.
Yeah. So each of us, we're inside our own heads with our own thoughts, right? And every thought could be considered like a prayer in terms of speaking to the higher energies that are out there about what we want. Even if we're thinking about what we don't want, we're still focusing on the lack of what here's how it is. You never focus on, there are only two sides of everything. It's what you want and lack of what you want, right? But the higher energies that move us don't hear the negative. So it's like what you're saying, that whatever we're focusing on is what expands, whether it's something you want or you don't want. So part of being able to be optimized and create more of the success you want and have the life experiences you want is to be more conscious and intentional about living in the higher energetic states. And part of how you do that is by redirecting your energy anytime you go into the lower states, right? So that you come into the higher states at will, intentionally, as quickly as you can. Some topics are going to be harder to recover from than others, right? But that you're taking action from there. So part of what I like to have groups do and have my clients do is make sure that they have a list. Sometimes you need a menu of things that feel good to you and that are pleasurable. And the more you do these things in your life, the higher your quality of energy that you're bringing. So we're going to go ahead and just do a little mingle here. And here's how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to demo again here with Cheryl. And so I'm going to go up to Cheryl and I'm going to say, Cheryl, what's something for you that's fun or pleasurable or exciting or relaxing? And she's going to say,
Going on a boat and watching the sunset.
Going on a boat and watching the sunset. She's going to write that down on her list. And you can see you can put something at work items or in general, okay? Either side, you can fill in either side. So probably, would you be going on a boat and looking at the sunset at work or in general?
In general.
In general, okay. So she would put that on her list. Now, if I like that idea too, I can borrow from her and say, oh, I love going on boats and seeing sunsets. So I'm gonna put that on my list too. If she said underwater basket weaving, I might not put that on my list. Okay, so you get how this works? And then she's gonna ask me, what do I like? What's fun for me? What's joyful for me? What's a pleasure for me? And then I'm gonna say salsa dancing. And she's gonna decide whether or not that goes on her list, but I'm putting it on my list. So you get how this works? Okay, so up on your feet, we're gonna do this as a mingle. And you wanna pick something different with each person you talk to. Pick something different every time. How was that, guys? Did you get a few things on your list?
My endorphins are flowing.
Your endorphins are flowing? Feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So isn't that interesting though? Just thinking about it and talking with other people already feels good. You didn't actually have to even go do any of these things.
Until my negative friend told me to sit down.
Your negative friend told you to sit down. What else did you guys notice just in that process?
It was faster.
I guess so.
It flowed.
It flowed?
Yeah.
What flowed? Like the ideas about?
Just the energy, and people wanted to stay in the conversation
Yeah.
and keep it up and going, and we didn't want to quit again.
Yeah, again.
We're off the chart.
So funny when you're talking about stuff you like, you don't want to stop. Yeah. Did you find that there were things that other people had that said that you maybe wouldn't have thought of? And we did kind of a short version of this, right? So, you know, one of the challenges or invitations for you, might be a challenge, is to build a list of 100 things. Get 100 things on each column if you can. Things that feel good to you, things that are relaxing, and do more of those. more often in your daily life. So it can be big things like going on vacation to Disney World, or it can be something small like just having a hot cup of coffee, going for a walk. You want to have things that are tangible and immediately applicable, and you also want to have some of those bigger things, but get more of that in your life. The more fun you're having, the more pleasure, the more calm, the more you practice that energetic state, the more you elevate your personal set point, your personal consciousness, and then again, the more things naturally flow to you, the less effort you have to make to get the things that you want in your life. It's a softer way of living. And the interesting thing is we call these soft skills because how we feel about and following our feelings has been so negated, and especially fun and pleasure in our culture has been so put aside that you're supposed to do that after you work hard, right? But it's backwards. You want to get your fun, your pleasure, your relaxation in so that your energy's filled up and then go to work. When you can do that, when you can live your life that way, you're going to feel better more of the time. You're going to have more harmonious relationships. You're going to be more innovative and creative. You're going to feel better in your physical body. Things just flow more easily and effortlessly. Okay? So let me just pause right now. Basically just to recap what we looked at today is consciousness and the energetic states and how that relates to the success you're creating. We took a quick peek at some of the neuroscience and then looked at a couple tools for you to elevate your personal state and to be living there more frequently. So let me just pause 2 minutes for questions. Any burning questions? Go ahead.
Does the number 7 factor into your very impressive system here at all?
The number 7 does not factor into my system.
Okay, I'm surprised because there's been a lot of good energy here, and I've had 7 pieces of pizza. So
Well, I've had 0 pieces of pizza. How many pieces of pizza were eaten in total? I don't know. Yeah, no, I didn't factor in the number 7, although I know that is, for some systems sort of like the magic number, that, and I think 99, I think odd prime numbers, I think there are all sorts of things. So no, that was not factored in. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, and I came in a little bit late, but I think that in hearing what you're talking about is everything that we tried to build our company, virtual office centers and office centers on, is that you can catch that energy.
Yeah.
Success is contagious.
Yes.
And I think that between the two of us, if we were to tell all of our clients those things, and then you give them the scientific research, it's proven. Because I think sometimes people will say that can't be true, and then they come in and they do feel better about how much work they do, how productive they are being out of a home office or some of those other kinds of things. Because I think if we keep high energy, whatever it is we do, that there's a lot of that reasoning is why people come into a situation like a work awesome type of an experience, is because they catch great energy.
Absolutely. And that great energy elevates, it inspires, it makes people more productive.
I'm going to make sure that every client that we have come through makes sure and sees this video.
Fabulous. Love it. Awesome. Yeah. And I told you at the beginning of the presentation that if you wanted more information about how to take this deeper, okay, do you have those sheets, Lisa? That'd be great. Thanks. That I give you the information for that. Because this is part of a larger system. Obviously, we are just barely scratching the surface of this today. Okay, so if you're interested in some free resources to take some of this content deeper and start applying it more in your personal life, you can fill out this sheet. The first resource is something we didn't really get to dig into today, which is how do you keep your personal state elevated when other people's drama comes into your sphere without getting sucked into it. So that's a resource that's for everybody if it calls to you. Tips for effectively dealing with OPD, which is other people's drama, without getting sucked into it. Okay, so if that's something that you're interested in receiving, you can just put a check mark there and then fill in your name and email address and phone number below, and I'll make sure that that gets out to you. And then the second resource is not necessarily for everybody. It's doing a one-on-one elevate my personal consciousness strategy session. And in that session, we will look at where is your personal consciousness, where on that energetic spectrum are you calibrating most of the time? And what are the things that really pull you down and suck your energy into the lower states? Well, you'll also get 2 tools, excuse me, 2 tools, at least 2 tools that you can be applying so that you are able to recover more quickly when you do get sucked down, and so that you're living more consistently from that elevated state. And then also, if that seems like we're a good fit, we could talk about what it would be to work together in the consciousness elevating system program. So yeah, go ahead, Cheryl.
So how long is number 2 when you're signing up for the free one-on-one?
Yep, so that's about 60 to 90 minutes. I always book 90 minutes. If that's something that you're interested in, I have blocked off my calendar 10 priority spots for this group. You can sign up on the sheet over here, okay, when we're done with the program, okay? But that's something then that we could have that further conversation, okay? And go ahead, did you have a question?
Actually, I have a question from another center.
Yeah.
At International. It says, how does meditation work into this?
That is a excellent question. Meditation, basically, in a nutshell version, is meditation gives you a break from your negative thoughts. And when you take a break and you separate from your negative thought patterns, the ones that have you in that lower energetic state, okay, you can get space to start floating up into the higher elevated state, number 1. Number 2, on the brain level, meditation helps thicken your corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is the tissue that connects the 2 hemispheres of the brain. And when you have a thicker corpus callosum, the hemispheres talk to each other better. And when they talk to each other better, it's easier to maintain those higher elevated states. So meditation is definitely, when I take my clients through the program that I work with them on, I do have them commit to a required 40 consecutive days of success habits, and meditation is one of them, because it is that important in terms of being able to manage your personal energetic state and your personal frequency. Okay, any other questions coming from over there, Corey?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, cool. Well, let me just leave you with one last thought here. And it's Stephen Covey said this, among other people, but that we are not human beings having a spiritual journey. We're spiritual beings having a human journey. And consciousness is where the rubber meets the road. So it's really, consciousness is about the gap in between your human functioning and that spirit self, or that best self. The wider the gap, the lower your consciousness and the worse you feel. The smaller the gap, the higher your consciousness, the higher your energy, the better you feel. And it all comes down to using your feelings as a benchmark for information for where am I focusing my thoughts. So my invitation to you as you're going back out into your life after this presentation, and I hope that you'll use some of these tools and apply them, is to frequently throughout the day, stop yourself and ask, where are my thoughts focused? What energetic state am I embodying? And how do I feel? And you can apply this phrase. If you don't feel great, elevate your state. If you don't feel great, elevate your state. That is your guidance system telling you that your energy is in that lower end spectrum and it's time to move up. So you have a few tools from today that you can work with, and I hope that you'll apply them so that you can be getting more of those results, that you can be optimizing yourself, you can be experiencing more success, and having a lot more fun along the way. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
On behalf of all of us at
totally.
Office Centers, I
My
just
pleasure.
love it. I'm sorry I missed the first few minutes, but I get to go back and watch it. Just like if you know of anyone who will benefit from this presentation, it will be on our YouTube channel by tomorrow, right, Corey? And so we can have that, or you can send a link, because I think that this was a great conversation and I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
look, I did check all these boxes, so I'm gonna give it to you. You put that in your pocket so that
Awesome.
mine can get in there
Yeah,
ahead
you
of
can
all
just
others.
leave these sheets on your table and hand them to us on your way out. Yeah, perfect, thanks.
Okay, and I just wanted to give you a couple of things. Thanks to all of you who supported us about a week and a half ago at our great big grand opening at Minnetonka. It was so much fun, and I saw a bunch of people co-working. Some of the park co-workers were there just this morning when I was there. It's a fun and a great place. Corey just put up our 60-second virtual tour, so if you haven't been there, take a minute, click on it, and he will give you the quick walkthrough with music. It's very entertaining as well. Along with the new space at France, we have the 60-second tour over there. So if you don't have time to jump in your car and go over for a tour, please make sure, and when we put the newsletter out on Monday, there'll be links so that you can take the tours there as well. They're on the website right now, and they're going to be, a link will be in the newsletter on Tuesday Monday when we send it up. Okay, our next Power Lunch is going to be May 26th. It's going to be at noon, and our presenter is Steve Beeman, and it's Discover 3 Effective Strategies to Bring Back the Passion you once had when you started your business. So if you're having a kind of an ebb or something like that, he's going to show us how to bring that all back around. He's an advanced certified business coach advisor and the author of Transform Your Business and Don't Be Derailed. And where is that going to be?
That's here.
Here? Okay, it's going to be either here, I thought maybe it was going to be at Minnetonka. We can't wait to get some people out there as well. He's going to speak on tools that will reconnect you to your vision, no matter how challenging your day is, a method that connects others with views who view your businesses, and a tool to help your business support you instead of the other way around. We all know that can be switched a lot during the course of a day, a month, a week, right? Also check out our new website, and there's some great events in May. On Tuesday, May 3rd, there's a Google workshop focusing on understanding Google Analytics, and that's with Ben Tice. Thursday of next week is our Park Office Center networking event in the morning. That's always well attended. Bring your business cards. On Friday, May 6th is the Girls in Action Lunch. They are part of our One Community outreach program, and I think that all of our members know that they are a great group to support. Dr. Verna Price, Girls in Action, their breakfast is next Friday from 7:30 to 9. We bought a table for 10. If any women would like to come and join us at that luncheon or that breakfast, please let us know. And I have 10 spots that I can get. I think we have like 3 or 4 people registered already. And then the week after that, we are going to be sponsors at the New Business Minnesota event at the Earl Brown Center. France Networking is on the 11th. And then we're also sponsoring Team Women. How much money did we spend on sponsorships this month? If she's out there, that's a lot of events for me. But we are also sponsoring the Team Women event, which their clients here, and they have over 400 attendees, all super powerful women in the Twin Cities. That is a great conference. Last year, I thought it was one of the best conferences that I attended. So if you get a chance and you have the time, take a look, because there's still time to register for any and all of these events. Hope to see you in the center. We have a lot going on in May. Thank you.